Hi. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the moment you look the most successful on the outside is the moment you feel the least aligned on your inside? I have. Probably because you're delivering, you're performing, you're holding it together for everyone else, and yet something feels off. Not wrong enough to stop, not broken enough to fix, just off enough that you can feel it in your energy. Most leaders don't talk about this because from the outside it looks like everything's working. But leadership has a cost. It pulls you forward constantly into the next decision, the next responsibility, and the next thing that needs you to be steady, clear, and confident. And in that forward motion, we stop asking the question that keeps us grounded. How am I actually doing right now? When things feel full or heavy or slightly out of sync, there are 3 questions I come back to. Not as a tool, not as a framework, as a way to come back to myself. First question, what's working that I should double down on? We are trained to look for what's wrong, what's missing, what needs to improve. But if all we ever see are problems, we start leading from pressure instead of from clarity. So ask yourself, where do I feel momentum? Where does my energy feel steady, maybe even strong? That's not accidental, that's information. And when you name what's working, you stop leading on autopilot and start leading on purpose. Second question, what's quietly draining my energy? Not the obvious stress, not the big crisis. The quiet drains, the conversations you don't want to have, the expectations you never agreed to but keep carrying, the pace that feels just slightly unsustainable, but you keep pushing anyway. These things don't show up on our to-do list. They show up in our patience, your focus, your relationships, your ability to think clearly. Energy leaks don't fix themselves, they accumulate. So the real question becomes, what am I tolerating that is costing me more than I admit? Third question, what support do I need to lead this next quarter well? This is where most leaders get uncomfortable because somewhere along the way we learned that leadership means being the one who can handle it. And I know we talk about it, that's not true anymore, but we have to figure it out, carry the weight, stay strong for everyone else. But that belief exhausts us. Strong leaders don't do it alone. They get perspective, they get challenged, they create space to think. Support might mean a hard conversation, a boundary you should have set months ago, a coach, a colleague, or simply the courage to say, I can't keep leading like this. And underneath all of this is something I see again and again. Your energy isn't one thing. It moves across domains, physical, emotional, cognitive, relational, and spiritual. When one is off, the others feel it. And when you ignore one long enough, you can look successful and still feel completely depleted. Clarity begins the moment you notice where your energy is being fueled and where it's being drained. So this week, don't push harder. Pause. Ask yourself, what's working that I should double down on? What's quietly draining energy? And what support do I need to lead well right now? You don't need perfect answers. You need honest ones. Because leadership isn't about holding everything together. It's about staying aligned enough that when things get hard, and they will, you still recognize yourself in the way you lead. So take what resonates from today, leave what doesn't, and I'll see you in the next Den Drop.